prayer start madla.
Madi.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. ವಾಸುದೇವರೇ, ನನಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೀವೊಂದು ಪ್ರೇಯರ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
ಅಖಂಡ ಮಂಡಲಾಕಾರಂ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಂ ಯೇನ ಚರಾಚರ ತತ್ಪದಂ ದರ್ಶಿತಂ ಯೇನ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುವೇ ನಮಃ. ನಾರಾಯಣ ಸಮಾರಂಭಾಂ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಮಧ್ಯಮಾಂ ಅಸ್ಮದಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಪರ್ಯಂತಾಂ ವಂದೇ ಗುರು ಪರಂಪರಾ. ಸದಾಶಿವಸಮಾರಂಭಾಂ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಮಧ್ಯಮಾಂ ಅಸ್ಮದಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಪರ್ಯಂತಾಂ ವಂದೇ ಗುರು ಪರಂಪರಾ.
Pratismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Antarjyotihi Bahirjyotihi Pratyakjyotihi Paratpara. Jyotirjyotihi Swayam Jyotihi Atmajyotihi Shivosmyaham. Om Sadguru Devaya Namaha.
Okay. So,
Hari Om, good evening.
Hari Om, good evening.
I request Maneji to conduct the session.
I have made some notes about talk 6, the titled as Who is the Ego? The Lakshmidhara Kavi.
Okay, before that, I think today's Manana session is on Advaita Makaranda by Lakshmidhara Kavi, and we have taken the reference talk of day 6 from Sri Prabhuji for today's discussion. Please proceed, okay. Maneji.
So, in the talk 6, who is the ego? So, Lakshmidhar Kavi, a Jnani, has given us a short text containing all the important knowledge of Vedanta, Advaita Makaranda, containing 26 slokas only. Consciousness is universal. Lakshmidhara Kavi has given a 4-step to understand that I am the Brahman. So I have the object is present only if the knower is present, and the subject and object should present to experience, otherwise it is not possible. The universal is infinite, therefore consciousness is also infinite. So what then? When in every our day-to-day talking, we always refer as I and I am in every sentence, in every time. That shows that consciousness is unchanging, though our age, our place, our profession, our activity is all constantly changing, but I am not changing. That is called the consciousness is Brahman. And if there is no experience of awareness, there is no object. So in one Zen story, Prabhuji was stating that in a forest, a big tree falls. Is it true? If it is not in anybody's awareness, it is not true. So if it need not be in my awareness, it can be with anybody's awareness, because consciousness is universal. It is not a personal property. Like sun rays falls everywhere. It's not in my house or your house or anybody's house. Like that, consciousness is universal. That is acting through the individual for us to recognize or aware of the objects. Without consciousness, nothing is possible. So the consciousness is the very primary thing, very responsible for all our knowing things and experiencing the world and other things. So in other words, awareness, consciousness is the prime importance that is we have to understand through this Advaita Makaranda. So anybody else can expand and give their views about the talk number 6.
Okay, so before we proceed to others, Maneji, you have summarized it well, but please state your understanding of this summary. While you have done a wonderful job on summarizing day 6 talk a little bit, extracting some parts of important parts of day 6 talks, please tell us, share your understanding of the same.
And one more thing I left out. There are different levels of consciousness which I was not aware in earlier, like dream consciousness and waking state consciousness, or a different level of consciousness. Prabhuji was telling that what we experience in dream cannot be experienced in the waking stage, and they cannot happen simultaneously. They are totally different state. And like he was telling, you win a lottery ticket in a dream and you cannot deposit in your bank in a waking state. So we know that the dream is not true. So that is why they are different level of consciousness. And but of course, the consciousness is the primary for all the states. Without primary awareness, nothing is possible. Like other experiences are not at all possible. So the awareness, consciousness has the ultimate. Without that, nothing is possible to experience. Even subject-object experience is also not at all possible without consciousness. Like he was telling, a mud pot cannot understand me. So when I am consciousness, I can understand the object. So the consciousness is the primary thing which is we have to learn and understand through the, without that nothing is possible. That is my understanding. Anybody else can elaborate or give their views? Vasuji can go ahead.
Srinivas Murthy, ಹೇಳಿಪ್ಪ.
Would you like to, Srinivas Murthy ji, if you would like to, please go ahead.
Heli sir. Sir, what you are told is correct, but there is no different type of consciousness. Consciousness is only one, but you are the only appearances when you are waking up, waking state and dreaming state and deep sleep state is only an appearance in your consciousness, because in all the three states only conscious only is there. Because of consciousness, we are feeling we are feeling the different states, waking, deep sleep, and dream sleep. So conscious is the subject, and all other whatever the appearing in the universe, it is nothing but object. So subject, there should be a subject, there should be an object to witness the universe. But conscious can be there without object also. And object and subject cannot be clubbed. It is just like Guruji has told oil and water. So it cannot become one. Only an appearance happens because of the consciousness. So again, because we are limited, we feel that we have got some limited consciousness, but it is not true, because if in the world you may not see, but somebody will see. So for him, the world appears. When you are in deep sleep, somebody is witnessing the world, but for the whether he or she or me, the conscious only should be there. But because we are in deep sleep, we are not witnessing in the world. But world appears only through consciousness. When there is no consciousness, there is no world either. That means he has told, in a forest, if some tree has fallen, only if nobody sees, then we don't know, we can't say that it has fallen. There should be a subject to witness it. So through witnessing only you can see the universe. Without the consciousness or without witnessing, no appearance of world. That's what he has told. That much I have told. Thank you.
So like seeing is believing. So another one thing Prabhuji expressed is these are all seen by adhyasa or super conscious, superimposed. Superimposition, because of the superimposition, we see the world. Otherwise, there is no world. World, like without only consciousness is there. All other things are superimposed. They are. Yes, Vasuji, you may tell your.
Okay, so Babuji, namaskara. Welcome, Babuji. Let us give him a minute. Are you there, Srinivas Babuji? All right, so let's address this question. Now, I think we're all talking about the experience of the world. Now, what is the fundamental condition according to day 6, shloka number 7 of Advaita Makaranda that Prabhuji has been dealing with? What is the fundamental condition for the world to appear? First condition.
The first condition is to appear want to see the world, there should be a consciousness. Without consciousness, you cannot see the world.
I'm there. For the world to appear in me, what should be the condition? In me, in you, in Maneji, in everybody, we are supposing that a conscious being is available. We are all here. For an object to appear in me, when can I say that? When can I say that the object or the world has appeared in me?
When the reflected consciousness appears in your Chidabhasa, then you can see the...
No, okay. What does that lead to?
What else?
If Chidabhasa is there, will the world appear? Chidabhasa is pure reflected light.
Yeah.
Okay. How does the world appear to the Chidabhasa? The very first condition that Prabhuji has very nicely put in the shloka. Babuji, are you there? Have you logged in? I think you are not able to hear him. Anyway, let us proceed. He will. There are two conditions. First is, like each one of us rightly said, that there must be a conscious entity. That is our sentient being, each one of us living beings. But like the example that you have given of the Zen story, the tree falling in the forest, but there is nobody there to listen to the sound of the tree. Did the sound happen? No, it didn't appear. So what makes the world appear in me?
There should be a seer. There should be a seer.
Correct, but according to the shloka and according to day 6, what it is? There is, can we drill it down to a little more specific? Seer, elladu subject ge aitalva. Heli.
There should be a knower.
Seer, knower, both are the same. So, what does... Okay, let's address it this way. What does seer and knower presuppose? Once the seer and knower are there, what does it mean?
It will presuppose only when there should be a consciousness and should be an existence.
Hangala. No. If we say there must be a seer, Murtiji is saying there must be a seer. Maneji is saying there must be a knower. Seer and knower are one and the same in terms of seeing and knowing. Now, when there is a seer, there is something else with the seer. What is it? When there is a knower, there is one more thing with the knower. What is it?
Knowing.
Knowing.
Known.
What is that known? What do you mean by known? What do you mean by knowing? Really, we are just trying to discuss this. Please don't take it as any other way. See, can only one thing give rise to seeing of the world? The point is very correct, 100% correct. Their first condition, there must be a seer or the knower. Okay. Now, when the seer appears in our consciousness as the seeing principle entity, then simultaneously another thing appears.
You see, you cannot see the world without you. There should be a coexistence of you and
that is taken. That is already mentioned. You did mention without you, Andre, without the seer, correct?
there should be both person and world appears together.
That means the seer and the seen together they arise together. The knower and the known arise together. The known is what? The object of knowing. This phone is the object of knowing. Okay, and this phone is, I'm seeing, on the screen, I'm seeing Murtiji and Maneji. So Vasu must appear as the seer, and simultaneously, as a seer, when Vasu comes, Maneji and Murtiji will appear on the screen as the seen entity.
That's why I told there should be an existence and consciousness together.
No. Both of them you are referring to the subject. What it means is with the rising of the subject, the object also rises. So there must be a combination of both the subject and the object for the world to be seen. Now, when the subject and object comes, there's something happens in the subject for the world to be cognized. What is that?
Allah, my doubt is whether existence is object or existence is subject.
See, we are shifting. Keep the subject, the seer and seen.
Doubt is existence and consciousness should be together, but whether existence is also known as consciousness or existence is nothing but object, alva. Anta nan keltar.
No, keep that question aside. We will address it later. Let us stick to subject and object. You are the subject. You means what? What is the subject?
Individual.
The sentient entity, the conscious entity. Object is the inert entity. Now, world to appear anta ella correct agi helta idive, vichara ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. Now, something must happen in the seer or the subject about the object for the world to appear. There must, what is it?
Allah, both should appear together and heladnalla.
Appearance aito. Appearance, how? All right. Subject is there, object is there. What makes you say that Vasu is on the Zoom call? Or Maneji is on the Zoom call?
Through my intellect.
What is it doing? How do you say that? What is happening inside you that makes you say, unless you say that Vasu and Maneji have joined the Zoom call, unless something happens, you can't say that.
Seeing should happen.
Correct. Seeing should happen. What does seeing do within your consciousness? Bari seeing nodadra agata.
Recognize the object.
What does seeing mean? In this case, is it clear or is it confusing? Okay, now there is a subject and there is an object. Now, to say that there is an object present, something a reaction between the subject and object results in some process that makes the subject say, I am seeing Maneji. That makes me say, I am seeing Maneji, I am seeing Murtiji. Both of them have come to the Manana session today. What is that process that happens? Experience, alva.
Yes, experience.
The object must be experienced by the subject.
Okay.
If you don't experience seeing me, you can't say Vasu joined the call.
Allah, experience or knowing principle, both are one and the same.
In how do you say knowing principle, Allah? That is different. Knowing principle is the potential of knowing.
I am knowing because Vasu has joined for Zoom.
You know as a knower. When do you come to know as a knower? You come to know that others have joined the call because when we join, you see us and you experience that we are here in the room, Zoom room. Without the experience, you cannot say that the world is there. Yes. What is the example given? Traditional, very popular example given. In sleep is there the world.
No.
For you, no. Why? Because there is no experience of the world in deep sleep. What makes the world appear for me?
The experience only.
The experience of the world. That means the seer and the seen, the subject and the object rise together. And when the subject and the object interact, the object's interaction with the subject gives rise to the experience of the object within the subject. Then we say, okay, Manaji has joined the call. Somebody else could not join today because they had problem. How do we know that? Because we are experiencing that they have not joined. If there was no experience then of the world, then we cannot say that the world is there or the object is there. Okay, na? That is why.
Yes. Example, voluntary.
Please repeat, your voice is breaking.
That's why Guruji has told that in the forest when the tree is falling, if nobody witnesses that there is no experience, then
correct.
That's what he has told. Yeah.
What does the Zen story say? There's nobody to experience the sound of the tree falling in the forest. There is nobody in the forest, just the wind blows and the tree falls. When the tree falls on the ground, there is a loud, because there is nobody, there is a loud sound, but there is nobody to hear the sound. That means nobody has experienced the tree falling. So did the tree fall in your experience? No. Therefore, for you, the tree did not fall. For you, the forest also wasn't there because you were not in the forest. You might have been in some other place, in your house. So then you are experiencing the house. So the house has arisen in your world because you have experiencing the house, isn't it? So the first condition is that the shloka is also saying, the seventh shloka that Prabhuji very nicely puts, that it is there is no experience, there is no world without the experience of the world. Nahi bhana drite sattvam. Without the experience, there is no world. So then how do we say that there is, what are the conditions for experience? There are several conditions for experience. What are they? What is everything? What are the few conditions that can we name them?
Subject and object should be present.
Subject and object, wonderful. Yeah, subject and object must be there.
Knower,
which is subject and object. Knower, known, seer, seen. Knower is the subject, known is the object. Knowing. Seer is the subject, seen is the object. Subject and object must be there.
And known. Right. Knower, knowing, known. Knower, okay. Known. Known.
All right. All right. So we have referred to subject and object. What are the other conditions?
They should coexist.
For experience.
They should coexist.
No, that we have already said subject and object must be there. We are saying the same thing in different terms. What other thing must be satisfied? What is the primary condition for experience? Subject object must be there. One point is well said. Anything else?
Consciousness, that there should be consciousness not to see the universe.
Idiyallappa, subject andre consciousness thane. So let's do this. There must be subject and object. Subject is the knower, object is the known. Subject is conscience. And how between the subject and object, what are the conditions to be satisfied for experience to be possible? All right, let us trigger this this way. Now,
there should be body, mind, and intellect.
No,
body, no. Chidabhasa only you are saying, no?
No, again we are getting distracted or detoured. So between the subject and object, there are certain conditions to be satisfied for the experience to be possible. First condition for experience is subject and object. Now, they must be present for experience to be possible. Then, when we say subject and object must be present, okay. When subject and then there must be something between relationship between subject and object that makes experience possible. All right, let's go this way. Please listen to this question. Why is there no experience possible in deep sleep?
Because there is no mind.
Really?
There is no mind.
No. Please address it from subject-object relationship.
Okay.
No. What happens to subject and object in deep sleep?
There is no witnessing. There is no witnessing.
Why? Huh? What happens to subject and object? There is the clue. In deep sleep, what happens to subject and object?
And they become separate. They can't become one. They are separate.
Alapa.
Not separate.
Okay. Hushanagi is separate. All right. When do subject and object arise? All right. Let me ask the question in another way. Is there a subject and an object in deep sleep? What is the object? The world.
No subject.
In sleep, is there a world for you? Object is the world. All right. In sleep, is there an object or the world?
No.
No. Now, Murtiji, you're okay. There is no world by way of experience in deep sleep, correct? Now, is there a subject in deep sleep? Are you there in deep sleep? You means the subject, the experiencer.
Yes, I am there.
The experiencer. Then you must experience.
See, you see, subject means generally it is known as consciousness.
No.
Get experience and this one as different.
No, Murtiji, no. Please be careful.
Subject is not there, subject is there. Subject is consciousness.
No, subject is not consciousness.
Then what? Then
subject is powered by consciousness. What is a subject? Subject means the knower, the seer, the listener, the talker. That is powered by consciousness. Okay. Subject is the individual. Consciousness is universal, the pure light. Subject is the consciousness in essence, but in function, subject is an entity that is the seer, that is the experiencer, that is the knower, that is the doer. Driktrishya Vivekadalli ಏನು ಬಂತು? Doing, seeing, knowing, experiencing. All those are intermediate entities. That is the subject. Isn't it? Now, specifically from this talk perspective, what Prabhuji has said, we have to consider and do manana based on Advaita Makaranda Shloka 7. Otherwise, we'll be going all over the place. It won't be wrong, but we won't be able to deeply understand what Prabhuji has said about Shloka 7 of Advaita Makaranda. That is what. So, if we address it this way, that is there an experiencer? When there is no world in deep sleep. Is there an experiencer? Who experiences? The mind? Isn't it? Without the mind, there is no experiencing. So, is there a mind in deep sleep? Is there an experiencer in deep sleep?
No.
Am I correct if I say knower is the subject, knower knowing known? Knower knowing known. Knower is subject, knowing is object, known is consciousness. Is it correct?
Experience.
No, knowing is not the object.
Knower, knowing and known na ಈಗ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾವುದು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಯಾವುದು ಕಾನ್ಶಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಹೇಳಿ.
Knowing is
ನೀವೇ
experience.
ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳಿ. Please.
Knowing is experience.
Please say.
ಹೇಳಿ.
Please discuss. Please come up.
See, knowing principle is between the experience. It is knowing principle andre it is experience tane.
What do you mean by knowing principle?
The knower knowing known antide. Knower is individual. Alva knowing is object alva anta kelidnu.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ you are dividing it into 3. Right?
ಕೊಡಿ ಸರ್, ಕ್ಲಾರಿಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ.
ಅದನ್ನೇಪ್ಪ, I'm addressing your point only. You are dividing the whole process into 3: knower, knowing, and known. Isn't it? Knower is the one who knows.
Then he should be he is a subject only as per you.
Yes, correct. Okay, subject. All right. Known. Known means what? The known object. All right. Knowing is what? Knowing is actually the connection that gets established between
witness or
the power of knowing that the subject gets from the light, the knowing principle. So the knowing principle is both between subject and object and beyond. It is between subject and object because knowing as a process. That means object is there, light must fall on the object, light must fall on the knower, and the light of the object must fall on the knower and form an image and knowledge. So the knowing principle establishes the link between subject and object. But it is also beyond the subject and object because that is the one that helps light up the power of knowing in the subject.
That's also called as consciousness or witness.
The power of knowing.
Power of knowing is nothing but consciousness or witness. Different.
Yeah. Okay. So that being the case, we were discussing it. We'll get back to the Advaita Makaranda topic. With that clarity, it becomes clear. Now, in deep sleep, is there an object? No.
No object.
Is there a subject?
Yes, subject is there. Sleeper
Subject
is the
in
subject.
the context of subject object. How is what do you mean? In what way are you saying subject is there? What do you mean by subject? Let us rewind. Because of the discussion, we might have forgotten. There must be a subject and object and a relationship between them for us to experience the world. Isn't it?
Yes.
Now, what we are discussing according to Advaita Makaranda, and Prabhuji has neatly put it in that shloka, explained in the shloka very beautifully. There must be a few conditions to be satisfied for the experience to be possible. That means for the subject to experience the object. One is
both should present.
Both must be present. Okay, subject and object must be present. That is one condition that we are all discussed. Now, there are other conditions to be satisfied for the experience to be possible. We are discussing what they are. Now, to trigger that, we are just asking a question: what happens to subject and object in deep sleep? Please analyze deep sleep in terms of subject and object.
Both subject and object will be in dormant state.
From whose point of view?
From the individual point of view, the subject and object will be in dormant state.
So,
there.
No, there is no object, there is no subject. That means what? Who is there?
Only that
I am there.
Knowing principle.
Which means infinite Turiya or Brahman or is there.
The only awareness is.
Only awareness is there. Okay. Agreed. Okay. If awareness is the word that is more comfortable, otherwise Prabhuji also says Turiya, awareness, pure consciousness. All right. That means what? What is not there in deep sleep?
Subject object is not there.
Which means what? Subject object is not there means what?
World is not there.
What is subject and object? Are they one or two? Subject and object. Yerdo ondo. Two.
One same.
Two. Now, in deep sleep, what happens? Both merge. That means in non-duality, there is no experience. So, for experience to be possible, there must be duality.
Okay. Very nice.
Allah, Prabhuji ಹೇಳಿರೋದು ಟಾಕ್ ನಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? Then there are other conditions. That means when is the experience possible? Subject object on the cover aitu. Then there must be duality. The very fact that we are saying subject and object, it means we are talking of two. That means duality is the underlying requirement for experience. All right. Now, second condition, one more condition, Heli. Don't pull up from the hat. Pull it up from talk 6.
The knower is the conscious should, or it will be there always, but it has to shine. Consciousness has to shine on the subject.
Subject irbeko. You're getting back. The very presupposition of the subject means subject is the knower. That means light of knowledge is shining on the subject that enables it to be conscious. All right. Okay. Now, if subject and object are together, is there any knowing possible?
No.
That means there must be separation between subject and object. Separation. Bere idrene gottagodu. You can experience an object, anything. For example, you have, what is your favorite food?
Okay, bisi bele baat.
Bisi bele baat, okay. So when is the experience of bisi bele baat possible?
When I
you put it
taste,
on the tongue. So
yes.
while on the tongue, is the bisi bele baat separate from you, or from the experiencer, or one with the experiencer?
It's one with the experience.
How can you experience the taste when the bisi bele baat? When do you experience the taste of bisi
When
bele
I
baat?
eat,
Put it on
when I
your tongue, in
taste,
your mouth, isn't it?
taste
There
it.
is still the juice, the taste, the masala taste, everything. So that means bisi bele baat is different, which is the object, and Maneji is the subject. The sense organs of Maneji is the subject, the taste buds, the tongue. Isn't it? So there is separateness. Now, after you have eaten and it has gone inside your stomach, do you experience the taste?
No.
No. So that means there must be separateness.
Okay.
If it is
Oh,
together, no experience is
okay.
possible. When the subject and object merge and become one, experience is not possible. Subject-object merging andrenu, non-duality, Advaita. There must be a distance, there must be separation between subject and object. Now, second, the third principle that makes experience possible, what would that be? In relation to subject and object. Who can experience whom? Murthy-ji?
Subject can experience the object.
So what is, okay, wonderful. So what makes the subject, why not the object experience the subject?
Because in the object, the consciousness is very limited.
So what does it mean? What is the characteristic in this case? If we say subject experiences the object, what is the characteristic of the subject and what is the characteristic of the object? Heli, Maneji. You're muted, I think.
There should be, there
tell.
be one, matter and consciousness should be there.
Andre
Then
Enartha,
only
what is the attribute of matter?
Matter is insentient or no consciousness.
Jada, insentient, inert. Okay, then what is the subject?
Consciousness.
Conscious or sentient being.
Sentient.
So
Sentient.
what makes experience possible? When a conscious entity and an inert entity come together. Together, not together as coming together, but come in the field of experience. That means conscious entity as a seer or a subject can experience the inert object. What is the other way of saying? An object cannot experience itself. Why? Murthy-ji just said earlier. Because it has no ability to know, or it is not a conscious entity. It is inert. The other way is also true. A conscious entity cannot experience itself. Can you experience yourself? as a subject?
No. No.
Not
Like
possible.
eyes can see everything, but eyes cannot see itself.
Itself. That means the conscious entity can experience only the inert object. So the requirement between subject and object is there must be a meeting in the field of consciousness, meeting between conscious entity and inert entity. Only in this relationship between these two, experience is possible. Consciousness cannot experience itself, neither can subject cannot experience itself, object cannot experience itself. Object cannot experience the subject because object has no experiencing ability. Subject can experience the object because object is sentient. I mean, subject is sentient, object is insentient. All these conditions together make experience possible. Isn't it? So,
very deep.
in other words, what Prabhuji is saying beautifully as an explanation, the shloka says only one line. Without light or consciousness, no experience is possible. That's what the shloka says in Advaita Makaranda. And Prabhuji has given a detailed explanation in so many different ways. How is experience possible? When both subject and object are to be available. And what is the relationship between subject and object? There must be a distance or separation. All right. There must be two. Therefore, there must be distance or separation. And one must be conscious, the other must be inert. The conscious entity can experience the inert entity, not the other way around. So
Not
experience is possible by the conscious subject.
Well, my doubt is, one should be inert ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, so suppose I am witnessing you. So I am subject. You are also, from my point of view, from your point of view, you are telling I am object. Both are.
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್, ನೀವು ಪೂರ್ವ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ನೀವು ಮಾನೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ನೀವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಸರಿನೇ
ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್
no explanations. Let Maneji address that objection. Yeah, so did you understand Murthyji's question? Please repeat, Murthyji.
Murthyji is seeing Vasuji, then Murthyji becomes the subject, Vasuji becomes an object.
But but what is his objection?
They are separate and they are at a distance. So
no, Maneji, that is fine. But what is Murthyji's objection? Did you understand that? Please repeat, Murthyji. Please repeat your question.
I see, when I am seeing you, I am subject. When I experience, you should be an object. But in my case and your case, you are not an object because you are consciousness. I am also consciousness. Both are existing. But
no,
okay. Okay. Stay there, Murthyji. Your question is finished. Let Maneji answer. Did you understand Murthyji's question?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you please answer.
His question is there. Both are consciousness. How can one become a subject, another become an object? Both are consciousness, he is telling, subject and object. If both are consciousness, there cannot be two. It has to merge.
Now you have put the ball back in Murthyji's court. Very nice. Correct. Right. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲೋ ಹೋದ್ರು
Thank
ಬರ್ಲಿ.
you. Thank you for
So
very nicely.
Murthyji.
Murthyji is one you have explained so well. Very deep understanding. Very deep.
Murthyji, what is your answer to Maneji's argument? Did you get what Maneji said? You went out temporarily. He addressed your question. He addressed your question in a very nice way. Did you get what he said?
No. I have been disturbed here. Please repeat it.
Please repeat, Maneji.
Okay.
Please
I'll
repeat
it, Murthyji. Murthyji, now you are telling you are experiencing Vasuji, right? Then you said you are subject and Vasuji is an object, but Vasuji is also consciousness, you told, isn't it? If Vasuji is also consciousness, you are also consciousness, there is no subject object is there. It is only same. It is the same as it merges. Then there is no object subject relation is not there. That condition is not fulfilled at all.
So that's a very logical argument. Therefore, Srinivas Murthy, one nimsha. Please stay there. Otherwise, see, both of them are right. Murthyji's objection that human-to-human interaction means how can the other person, the human being on the other side, be an object? Because here in this case, the other person is also a conscious entity. And Maneji, you wonderfully said, if both are consciousness, then there is no subject-object separation. Wonderful. That means, in other words, let's jump and find out, what are you seeing of me? Murthyji. If both arguments are right, you are saying, how can I be an object? Okay, valid. But Maneji is saying, okay, if I am not an object, if I am consciousness and subject Murthyji is also consciousness, there is no experience possible. That is also correct. So, therefore, without going roundabout, go to the next logical question. What of the object, or what of me are you seeing? Murthyji.
Name and form.
Hold on. Murthyji addressed.
If there should be an experience means the other person, whatever may be, it should be an object to me.
Lapa, see, please.
If experience has to happen, no. If both are consciousness, there will be no experience.
Correct. So what are you seeing? What are you seeing of me? How do you reconcile your first question?
When object and subject are merged also, there will be no experience. Here some experience happening, so both are consciousness, means if both are consciousness, where is the question of experience?
Correct. So what are you seeing of me? When you see me...
So even though both are conscious, I am separate, there should be not one, there should be two. That would there is no one that I am seeing.
Maneji said a wonderful statement. Can we listen to him again? What of me is Murthyji seeing?
Initially we see your name and form. Sorry, not the name.
So when you say you're seeing Vasu or Maneji, Murthyji, you're not seeing the consciousness. It is impossible to see consciousness. You're seeing name and form. Okay. So name and form is an object. It is inert. This body is
Okay.
inert, but it is
Yes.
enlivened by consciousness. There is no way you can see consciousness through your eyes or through the sense organs. You can know
Yes.
you are a conscious entity through knowledge or wisdom. So when you say you are encountering another conscious entity, it means you are experiencing only the name and form of that entity. We cannot experience the consciousness of that entity.
Very nice explanation.
Mute agidira.
Like we can also say consciousness cannot be separated. When there is separation means there should be a subject-object. That's all.
Correct. Yeah, you can put it in different ways. Correct. You can put it that way also. All right. Okay, so that is just one line of the thing. And we also said there is no experience without sentience and inertness. That's what we discussed also. That means that one must be an inert entity, jada. One must be a sentient entity, which is chitta. Chit. Chit and jada together can make an experience. Two chits, there are no two chits for that matter, but if both, for example, to address Murthiji's question, if two chit entities are coming together, then the one of them takes the role of the subject, the other takes the role of the object. Only then we can know. Knowing, seeing, experiencing are possible. There cannot be any experience with two conscious entities because consciousness cannot be experienced. It is non-dual. Okay, then it says, then what is the relationship between Chit and Jada? That is an important aspect. Prabhuji nicely puts, what is the relationship between Chit and Jada? What do you think is the relationship? We'll quickly go through this and end. Final discussion. Relationship between inert and sentient object. If we say Brahman himself or itself appeared as the world, what is the relationship between Brahman and the world? Is it like cause and effect?
It's not like cause and effect. It's only an appearance.
Yeah. So it is for a cause and effect. Where is the cause-effect relationship possible? At the same level of reality.
Okay.
Suppose I say I apply 10 kg force on an object. Force is at the physical level of reality, object is at the physical level of reality. So cause and effect relationship is possible. Between two different levels of reality, relationships are not possible. Association is not. What is the association between subject and object? It is not of cause and effect. Is there a relationship between Brahman and object? Brahman and the world? Neevu helidri. Both of you said one wonderful statement that Prabhuji made. What is it? In the beginning. Does oil mix with water?
The different entities, different level of
They are different
reality.
entities. They do not mix with each other. All right. The other example that Prabhuji has given in the talk, we get into a dream. What is the relationship between the dreaming entity that is on the bed, lying on the bed, and the actual dreamt characters?
Dream experience.
No relationship. It appears to be related because the person is lying on the bed, but the dream character, what is the relationship between the dream tiger and the person lying on the bed, dreamer?
No relation.
No relationship. We can only say that the mind of the dreamer itself has turned into, projected, and given rise to a dream tiger. Isn't it? That much can be said. What is the other way? What is the relationship between you as the subject and your reflection in the mirror as the object? Between you and the image, your image, not between your image and you. For example, if you're standing in front of the mirror and you're seeing a reflection, and your grandson or granddaughter comes and spills some coffee or milk or water on the mirror, then your image reflection becomes unclear. Isn't it?
Yes.
But what happens to you who is standing in front of the mirror?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Suppose the mirror is turned away. The reflection is gone. What happens to you?
There is no image.
There is no image, but what happens to you?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. So when everything can happen to the reflection, but nothing can happen to you, what is the relationship between you and in the reflection?
Reflection is unreal.
Allah, what is the relationship? Is there a relationship?
It's a superimposition.
There can be only a dependent relationship one way. That means the reflection is dependent on you. You have actually no relationship with the reflection.
Or conditioning relation. Conditioned relation.
Yeah. And the only way that things appear, what does Prabhuji say? How do things appear? How does the world appear? If you take a glass of water, glass, not steel glass, and then behind that you put a colored paper, colorless water appears red or yellow because of the background color paper. Now, what is the relationship between the paper and the water and the colored water? Nothing.
No relation.
It appears in the influence of the colored paper. To the experiencer, water appears as colored water. Isn't it?
It's only an appearance, not true.
Only an appearance. Appearance means what in Advaita? Superimposition. So the relationship between Chit and Jada is only of superimposition. It is not real. That means it is temporary. When superimposition is removed, through the superimposition, you can see Brahman or Atman. So with superimposition, Brahman appears as the world. Now, physical separation of superimposition is not possible. Only in discernment and logical understanding, you can separate the superimposition. Okay. So we have just about 4 minutes. We'll chant the closing prayer and do a brief nididhyasa. Okay. Shall we chant? Please chant the closing prayer, Maniji.
Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Murtiji, you want to chant?
Can say one more.
Nanembudu nanalla, ideha manabuddhi nanalla, Satchidanandatma Shivananu nane, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. Lokaha samastaha. Murtiji, you can chant and we can close.
Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam, Satyadarshanam, Antarjyoti, Bahirjyoti, Pratyajyoti, Paratpara, Jyotireva Jyoti, Swayam Jyoti, Atma Jyoti, Shivosmiham. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Om Tattas Brahmarpanamastu. Tattas Shri Gurubhyo